We met through a mutual friend of ours and hung out and danced and didn't date for a long time, and then she couldn't resist me.
Every weekend after that, when there was live music, we were out dancing. He'd text me, "Are you out? Let's go dancing." And we danced, gosh, for 9 months. We were great dancing partners. He was diagnosed in February of 2015.
The doctor said it. At that point, I think we both had researched it and kind of knew what was coming, but you know, to actually hear a doctor say it is pretty devastating. I'd done a bunch of research on what the VA does for vets with ALS, and I kept reassuring her that, you know, we're going to be okay. They're going to take care of me. They're going to take care of us. It's going to be all right. And then we started talking about, well, what do people do that don't have those services?
And he said, well, we'll have to start looking for a house. And when I'm gone, you can have the house. And I looked at him and I said, I have a house, but other people don't. Like, we felt like this positive energy, like, okay, we can do something. One of the things that I learned right away was this doesn't just affect one person, this affects the whole family unit. So it's hard to navigate for these families because everybody's experience is different. And when we saw how passionate people were with the idea, Andy Barrett had joined our board right around the time that we were having our second annual pub crawl, and we were just about to break ground on the first Matt's Place house in Coeur d'Alene. And he loved the idea, so we got through that project, and then he was partnering with Russ Vaughan, and he said, I really love this idea. What can we do in Spokane?
ALS has affected my family, friends, and my community. When Matt asked me to join his board to help raise money for other folks that have ALS and provide housing for them, you don't say no. Why I'm so passionate about working on the Matt's Place Spokane project is working with a guy like Matt who has ALS and is willing to focus his efforts on helping others with ALS. We were lucky to have Dr. Weeks from St. Luke's help us with the design of the home.
So St. Luke's is a medical rehabilitation hospital. We are the only one in Spokane, largest in the region. The majority have had something bad happen to their neurological system. When I got into the meeting, I saw Matt and Teresa from Matt's Place, and so I knew I was in the right place, but wasn't understanding very much of the conversation that was going on because they were talking about building materials. Eventually they started talking about the design of a living space that would be a Matt's Place home, and so at that point I knew, yeah, I was in the right place. And that's when I was able to begin contributing to the conversation once it moved away from building materials and more towards how you design spaces that can be functional for people that have impairments that might cause them to be in a wheelchair.
We're very excited to build a state-of-the-art home for ALS patients in Spokane, Washington. We've assembled a team of the best in class.
We're really focused on is mass timber construction and the advent of cross-laminated timber. And it allows us to build differently. We make solid wood floors and walls, but we put it together in a way that is pre-engineered for the structure.
Andy is on the board for Matt's Place Foundation, and they started talking. They had such a successful project over in Coeur d'Alene with Matt's Place and the first build that they did there. And so Andy came to me and just asked, hey, would you be interested? I couldn't help myself but to jump on board and say, sure, yeah, we want to be a part of this. We do a lot of single-family residential around Lake Coeur d'Alene, and this kind of falls into that category. Matt's Place of unique, custom, single-family homes. We're talking to some of the other people involved just about the technology components and what it looks like. And then Matt and Teresa were giving a lot of feedback in terms of just the functionality and what they need and what the type of people that are living in these facilities at various different stages, you know, what works for them and what doesn't work.
We have a real strong belief that architecture should be accessible to everyone. It's not an exclusive thing, so it's part of the reason we were interested in this project, was to try to bring good design and good architecture to people that otherwise wouldn't be thinking about it, or it wouldn't be a high priority.
Yeah, so just being real thoughtful about how you design different spaces so that they maintain function when you have somebody that's in something as large as a motorized wheelchair. You know there are going to be more people that are going to be diagnosed with the disease. There need to be alternatives for these really end-stage times of life.
There are a total in this project of 13 different small modules that go together. So you can see each one of these is about 8 feet by 14 feet, and they would come together in pre-built little sections with a floor, walls, and a roof, and then they all get stitched together at each one of these joints. You're out on site for a very limited time because everything is pre-built, and you just come and kind of plug it all together. The open concept of the structure and the clean lines of it make it easy to retrofit. You know, as technology changes over time, it'll be really easy to add those systems.
CLT as a panel allows for more open spaces and larger spans for the open concept. That's important for people that are wheelchair bound. Patients with ALS, as they lose their abilities to move around and take care of themselves, they need to be, say, transported into the shower or the bath. So that's going to take an overhead lifting system. Well, the nice thing about CLT is it's structurally very robust.
What's a daily routine going to be like in a house like this? And, you know, trying to get, say, the car that's bringing the patient to the home, you know, so that the house cantilevers out over that parking space so that you're undercover. Even if it's raining or snowing, you can easily get in and out of the vehicle and into the house. So natural light, natural wood, the finishes are natural, the light is natural, the window's open, so it's actually just a clean, refreshing place to be, so that you're more relaxed and healing.
What we can do is we can create the main floor space with accessibility for the ALS patient and the family and shared space, but we can also, because of the structure, build a second floor that allows them to have some of the escape to their normal lives. It's good for the person afflicted with ALS, knowing that their family, which is really important to them, is still carrying on and doing the things that they love to do, even though there's this major disruption in their life.
St. Luke's has been contributing to what's going on with Matt's Places, thinking about the types of technology that could be implemented into a home. And so we know that there's really a burgeoning movement in technology, in the technology sector, to try to find solutions for how you give some independence back to people that have lost it because they are wheelchair bound.
Microsoft has existing technology and eye control that we can implement into this home to make the person with ALS more independent.
Eye control is designed for people that have ALS because people with ALS have, in the worst cases, have no motor control except for their eyes. And so we designed it for sort of the worst case scenario when it comes to motor impairment. So if you have no ability to move anything except for your eyes, we wanted to make it possible to still use Windows, use all the features of Windows, and to do that as much as possible, and to do that with your eyes. Really, the goal is to take people who may be trapped inside of themselves and give them a way to be independent and free as much as possible, and improve the quality of life. Once I became involved in the project and I started talking to people that had been diagnosed with ALS and talking to their families, and then realizing that I had an opportunity to have a meaningful impact on people's lives, that it became meaningful to me.
We can design it once, but then hopefully be able to reconfigure and just keep churning these out to help family after family. Yeah, and I think hoping to serve as a new model or an inspirational project that'll get more people focused on this type of a need out there.
We're looking at every possible angle with the Spokane homes. We aren't really let anything go by without taking a look and saying, let's see if this is something that could benefit the family that's living in the home.
For that to be in a place like Spokane is really exciting and something that there's a lot of community energy behind it. Matt's Place is focused on trying to make life, no matter how much of it is left, better.
The Matt's Place Spokane effort is just the beginning of a project that's going to provide comfort and care to folks with ALS.
Our goal is to get Matt's Place homes nationwide. This could potentially eliminate so much stress for these families. And they can be additions onto the homes, they can just be brand new homes, but this technology is fascinating, and it's good for the environment, it's good for the families, it's going to have all the greatest technology in the country right now. So it's exciting. It's a win-win for everybody.
Every city around the country needs this kind of living arrangements for people with ALS. I think it's a huge impact to everyone that we're successful with what we do.
Look at the big picture. This is 2019. We can do better.